Hello friends. So today we would see what is cost threshold of parallelism, right? In one of my video related to max DOP, I have talked about the value related to that max degree of parallelism. So today we would talk about what is cost threshold value for parallelism, right? So as usual, the agenda would be understanding COP value and then a practical demo. So what is COP value? The cost threshold for parallelism option specifies the threshold at which the SQL server creates and runs parallel plans, right? So this is nothing but a threshold value which is required for SQL engine to understand that whenever the subtree cost or the threshold, the cost of that execution plan or execution query goes beyond that set value, then only it will consider it as a parallel plan. SQL Server creates and runs a parallel plan for a query only when the estimated cost to run a serial plan, this is very important, serial plan, I will show in a demo also, for the same query is higher than the value set in cost threshold for parallelism. Okay. The cost refers to an estimated cost required to run the serial plan on a specific hardware configuration, and it is not unit of time. So many people, actually wrongly they take as that actually the execution time, right? But this has nothing to do with the execution time. This is related to the cost of an query, right? And not time. That is how much time it has taken. The cost threshold for parallelism option can be set to any value from 0 to 32767. Okay, so in layman terms, or if we want to differentiate between the max DOP value and COP value, right? Then as I told you that max degree of parallelism actually specifies that how many CPUs would be used if parallel plan is created. Right, so that is the value for max DOP, and COP value determines that when the parallel plan should be created, depending upon the estimated cost. Okay. There are some limitations. The cost refers to an abstracted unit of cost and not a unit of estimated time. Only set cost threshold for only uh, on symmetric multiprocessors, right? You can set this if you have a symmetric multiprocessors. SQL Server ignores the cost threshold for parallelism value under the following condition. Your computer has only one logical processor, right? So there is no meaning, right? This is very logical that if you have only one logical, if there are no multiple processors, then defining this value doesn't make any difference because always, whether it is a parallel plan or whether it is a sequential plan, only one CPU would be used. Only a single logical process available for SQL Server because of the affinity mask configuration option. So there is a configuration in SQL Server called as an affinity mask. It determines that how many CPUs you have allocated to the SQL Server uh, SQL Server instance, right? So in that case also, if you have actually allocated only one CPU, though the system has multiple CPUs, but for SQL engine or SQL instance, if you have allocated only one CPU, then also this setting doesn't make any difference, and the max degree of parallelism option is set to one. So this also, as I told you, this goes in hand to hand, both the things, right? Uh, As if like if max degree of parallelism is set to one, then also this value doesn't matter because always though it might create a parallel plan, but still only one logical processor would be used. Okay. So basically, this is what a cost threshold value for parallelism. Let us see something in action as usual. So very first thing, how to set this and where to find out, right? So if you can right click on instance and go to the properties under the advanced option, you can see the cost threshold value for parallelism, right? Whenever you install the instance, right, the default value is taken as 5. Okay. But we can surely change this. So the recommended value, as a best practice, what you can do is start with 50, right, and then determine how is the performance of an SQL server, right, of an instance, and then depending upon that, you can either increase or decrease this value, right? So basically, you should start with 50. So this is where you can locate this cost threshold for parallelism. Okay. Or then second option is okay. Here just check this that the max degree of parallelism we have defined as 8 because this I want whenever we will go to the demo I will show you the difference. Or the second option is with the SP configure procedure with with the show advanced option, and then you can set this the cost threshold for parallelism as 50. Okay, right? So Basically, this in this way you can set this value on an instance level, and that would get actually carry forward to all the databases. Okay. Now this is the query. Okay. So let me first run this query. I know I have actually I'm going to take the execution plan as well. Okay. So let me run this query first without anything. So without any settings, okay? When I say anything, without any settings. So in an execution plan, you can see here that degree of parallelism is, 4. Okay, it is being used 4. Why? Though our instance was having 4, you can check on my max DOP video I have shown why it is 4, but still, just as in a quick way, I would show that though at an instance level it is 8, but on a database level it would be 4. So max DOP value you can actually set on a database also. So you can see here the data on a database settings it is 4, and hence it is showing us as a 4. Okay, so let us make this as 8, comparable to an instance. Okay, so let me make this 8, save it, and now let us run this query again. Okay, so now here you can see, as you can see here, the parallel plan has been created. You can see the two arrows, parallel arrows, which determines that parallel execution plan has been created. And here you can see that 8, and you can see even the degree of parallelism is 8 and estimated. Now here you can see estimated subtree cost is 100. Okay, right, 100.619. Okay, so now let us execute this with this option, and let us see what is the subtree cost. So as we told that it is not related to time, but it is on the cost. So here you can see estimated subtree cost is 100.619. Okay, so now let me go back and change this COP value 100.619. Okay, let us not take, every time. So we will change here itself. So I'm saying 101 because it was, what was it? It was, sorry, 100.619. Okay, let us check this again, 100.619. So basically I'm doing 101. So ideally now this should create a parallel plan. Okay, okay, right. So yes, because of course already it was creating parallel plan. So now I would make this 99, which means that my threshold value is 99, and anything above that should create a parallel plan. Below that it should be right. Okay, let us do 102 instead of 99. So let us then 102. So now basically if you can see our cost threshold value for parallelism is 102, subtree cost was 100.619. So ideally now this should not create a parallel plan. Though we execute this with max DOP 8, that is with 8 processors, okay, but still it is creating a parallel plan if you can see here. And if you can see degree of parallelism is 8. Why this is? Because as it was shown in let me go back to this slide. As it was, we discussed that SQL Server creates and runs a parallel plan for a query only when the estimated cost to run a serial plan is there, right? So this is very important. So if we want to identify that what is exact subtree cost, right, then what we need to do is initially we would use only one CPU processor. So in this case, it will not create any parallel plan. Okay, let us wait, it will take time. Okay, so now in execution plan you can see those double hash has gone, and you can see here the degree of parallelism is 0, and this is the subtree cost. So what is the subtree cost here? 788.902. Okay, 788.902. Let me write down this, 788.902. So now if we make this at 789 for example, right, let me change this value to 789, which means what? Anything, the subtree cost, whenever the query is executed, if the subtree cost goes beyond 789, then it will create a parallel plan. Okay, otherwise it will create a sequential plan. So I'm executing this, this has been changed, and now let us run this with 8 processors again back, and let me execute this. Right? Wow. See, still. So now though subtree cost was actually 788.902, we had identified 789. So basically what is that? That anything beyond 789. So actually the subtree cost was 788.902, which is below this 789. So ideally it should have generated a estimate parallel plan, but it has not generated the parallel plan. Why? Why? Because the value was 789. And if you can see here, the degree of parallelism is only saying as 1. Okay, and as soon as, because the subtree cost should go beyond 788.902 or beyond 789, which was not right now. So though we have actually used max loop as 8, still it is creating a sequential plan only, because our setting is 789, right, and the subtree cost is coming as 788.902. Okay, now as soon as I would do this 788, right, because you can see 0.902 is there. Now I've made this 788. So now if I execute this, this has started creating an parallel plan, right? You can see here degree of parallelism is 8. Why? Because now our cost threshold value is 788 and subtree cost is coming as 788.902, which is more than that, and hence it has started creating a parallel plan. So and as soon as, let me show you this again, as soon as we do this 789, which means our subtree cost is just below this, and hence it would, though we have actually given a query hint that please use 8 processor, but it will still not create a parallel plan because our cost threshold value is 789. And you can see here again it has gone back, and you can see the degree of parallelism is 1 only, right? Okay, so this is where we can identify depending upon the query, and then you can set this value, right, and you can use this value to understand or to create a parallel plan for a query. So now basically you need to check if the query is performing fine on the parallel plan, right, then you should use this value. If it is not, then you should actually set the value in a way that it don't create a parallel plan, right? Hope guys you have understood this topic and understood this what is cost threshold value for parallelism, right? Research more on this to get some more knowledge or to get some more understanding. Okay, hope you have enjoyed this video. As usual, don't forget to subscribe my channel, and don't forget to press the like button, right? Meet you next time with next good topic. Till then, bye and take care.